Warning, this podcast has some swears in it.
I'd rate it PG-13 at most, but let's just be on the safe side and say viewer discretion is advised. Alright. Time.is?
Yeah, we got the website open.
Okay, clap on the 20.
Alright, sounds good.
Good luck, have fun. Time to raise your blades, heroes.
And check some vibes.
It's the Heroes Blade Vibe Check.
What the fuck is up, my stony winged monstrosities? Welcome back to another episode of Actually They're Grotesques, the #1 podcast for the discussion of that animated series, Gargoyles.
I thought we were going to do a Final Fantasy opening.
There's nothing on the document about that.
I asked you... Okay, anyway, intro was done by Empress Quinn. I don't know if it's on this SoundCloud, but there you go. That's a decision I made, like, when I asked you for the Final Fantasy tracks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fucking, which one did you end up picking?
We'll find out, won't we?
Alright.
You gave me two. I'm gonna do the coin flip. We're gonna find out which one it is, and then the lovely listeners will know when the episode comes out.
Okay, sounds good. I actually don't think I've posted either of those on the internet.
No,
so
I don't
we'll have
think you have.
Put a air quotes music video out there for them.
Fantastic. So let's just get right into upkeep, just so we don't keep people around for another 3 hours for like the third episode in a row. So recently, all the hosts of MTG Lexicon, the dive bar of EDH, had a collective meeting where Quinn just nodded fair head and said, And I'm like, hey, can we get a Heroes Blade Vibe Check channel? And everyone unanimously said yes. So now we have one in the Discord. So once you get past the super serious 5-layer encryption to get into our Discord, because there were like 120 bots that have tried to break in.
Stop making excuses. We just have the security. I'm not explaining that shit to people.
Thanks, G3. So yeah, you get in, you not only get to be able to chat with all of us lovely people, that also includes Lenny, the producer, Brandon, fuck that guy, and all the other hosts of MTG Lexicon. We also have our dedicated Heroes Blade Vibe Check section, and then of course we have our hashtag drownsecrets.fm section that I said, hey, we should totally get that going again. And so it's there.
It sure is.
I believe Dale, or was it Johnny, that put one from like a con a few years ago and very vividly remembered it because some Magic games are that way for you. I recently, and I say I mean we, as in the same game you and I were playing in, we got destroyed by the combo engine that is Myoplasm 2.0. Respect the ooze. And
yeah, that guy's still he's still got hands.
And if you were able to participate like me, you would have been able to maybe do something about it. But instead, I got caught slipping by keeping a greedy keep.
Can't believe you did that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Fucking hashtag.
It was Quinn. I had Red Death, 2/3 mana value mana rocks, and like something else that would have shotgunned me into the game. And I believed way too hard because another land was like 10 cards deep.
Killing me.
All right. So yeah, if you can get in there, hey, I'm going to update all the links on all the episodes. So if you want to head into the Discord, that is where you'll be able to find us. And I know it's another Discord, but I wasn't going to make a Heroes Blade 5 check one, so why not piggyback off of Lexicon?
There you have it, folks.
Yeah. What else do you got on here in the upkeep?
We're going to do just the infinitesimally small amount of bracket posting. In that, in my experience, the matchmaking on MTGO has been improved by the presence of brackets. People can put in the game descriptions that there's like the kind of game that they're looking for with the specific like codified rules now, and well, not like enforced in the system. You can still absolutely show up with fucking Jin-Gitax as core augur as your commander.
Wait a minute, you're saying you can lie in a Magic the Gathering game? And engage dishonestly with the system?
Some people are still going to be that kind of person. However, if everybody is up on the information, which like maybe they should put that on MTGO somewhere so that people playing Commander there have any idea of what's going on, because like limited amounts of engagement with the like wider content sphere and whatever they've got coming from Wizards, from some people there. Some people had no fucking clue what any of these like brackets were, and they're just like hopping into rooms.
Yeah, it's I didn't know what I thought about it earlier before we recorded, but I was thinking I have friends who don't know who Mark Rosewater is, who have no clue about any of the lore in Magic for the last 20 years, lay the entirety of his existence. And do you think people are going to give a shit about brackets if no one ever tells them about it? No. So
yeah. So there's got to be a way to get that information to the gamers. But otherwise, if everybody knows what's up with brackets, then you can pretty reliably sculpt a good experience now, where you maybe had difficulty with that previously. So I'm excited to see that continue.
Charlotte Sable did put out an article, which I posted in the last episode notes, and maybe I'll do that for this one, but I feel as if hearing it from the quote-unquote mouthpieces, the people who are part of the new Commander panel, and as long as you're willing to listen to them, or like if you even care, what the points that they have about the bracket system, I promise I won't spend too long on this. The bracket system, I think, is a good step forward in the right direction, despite what some of the vocal minority, aka bad faith actors, think. Because kind of what was established was that one IRL playgroup that I play with talked about the brackets that were auto-calculated on Moxfield. And for the most of us, the majority of our decks operated between 2s and 3s. Most of us leaning 2, which makes it seem like it's working out in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm glad to hear that.
And then obviously I don't know, I feel as if everyone happens to operate or fundamentally like builds decks around those levels, then you found the right people that meshes with your deck building conventions. And then if you happen to, everyone's building 4s, then you've also found the right group of people, you know? It feels like it's working as intended.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was seeing reflected online previously. And yeah, it sounds like we're hearing that IRL too. That's lit.
Yeah, it's great. All right, let me crack open this can and get into vibe checks, huh?
Sounds good.
All right, hit us with a vibe check.
It brings me just amounts of displeasure the size of fucking Jupiter to report to you gamers that Cecil might fail the vibe check.
The Dark Knight himself, Cecil from Final Fantasy IV?
Yeah, I don't know, gamers. I don't think I want to put the blade on him. He is very consistently coming down on turn 1, and like, yeah, he might eat removal later, but I feel like people are kind of inclined to just like watch you kill yourself with him, and he is gonna get indestructible once you get like or not him, but like the rest of the team gets indestructible when you get low enough. And maybe you don't care about having Cecil by the time you've developed a board and got your life total low enough that you're at that point of the game. Like, I'm just not sure that he's going to be the wielder of the hero's blade this time.
Yeah. So because we are in the reality that there is a upcoming Universes Beyond standard set, Cecil's probably gonna be kinda nutty in standard as a 1 mana 2/3 with like a very relevant keyword, even not factoring in the fact that whenever he deals damage, period, you lose that much life. But I don't know. It definitely feels like a standard playable card, question mark. No idea. As a
I want
commander.
to see what this guy looks like next to the last ride in gameplay. I think maybe there's something there.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, you know what? That would be sick.
Okay, hang on.
Are we cooking? Hold on.
Cecil, we play the last ride, we play the other Death Shadow likes, the Shadow of Mortality, the Death Shadow itself, and we also play Lich cards because
Okay,
Cecil's
hold on.
backside has lifelink. We're gonna get our life total low. We just take advantage, revel in our undead might, and try and kill everybody with Repay in Kind.
Okay. The last ride, I will point out, does have crew 2. So
so Cecil can crew it in his Dark Knight form, although you do have to get your life total low enough that it doesn't just die instantly.
yeah, so like,
At which point I think Cecil's gonna transform to
standard.
the Redeemed
I'm just
Paladin.
thinking, just standard. You get down to 10 life. I don't know. I feel like there's something here. It could be pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, I might put together an awful standard deck with Last Ride and Cecil when that comes out. I think that could
Just
be fun.
remember, Final Fantasy cards will be on Arena, which means we can play Final Fantasy in Brawl.
I'm absolutely playing Final Fantasy and Brawl. Are you fucking kidding me? That'll be
Gonna
so
be
funny.
We must have our Cloud versus Sephiroth matchups.
Oh, yeah, dude. And the fucking arena, like, backgrounds and all of that can be the
It'll be
gray
Midgar.
and green and the Maka reactor theming.
Yeah.
I'm so in.
All right. Well, the royalties are going to be through the roof, but you know what? WotC thought it was worth it, so we'll see what happens.
I think that this is the kind of thing that's going to print money. Final Fantasy is fucking huge.
Wish they didn't bump up the price for packs, but you know what? Greedy company, gonna be greedy company. Yeah, so Garland, Cecil. Whoops, my bad, jumping the gun a bit.
I mean, yeah, you can go straight from Final Fantasy to Final Fantasy. That's fine. We'll just loop around.
We're just loop around. So, Garland, Knight of Cornelia, not Knight of Cornelia. Why I can't remember. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
That's
anyway.
Probably like a thing.
Yes. Oh, it's a Star Fox thing. Someone said. Anyway, I couldn't. So anyway,
No,
so
yeah,
Garland Knight of
Cornelia is a thing from Star Fox, but I mean, just like it might be a thing with the like characters and origin of or language of origin.
Oh, probably, yeah, fundamentally. So what happens when you put a Hero's Blade on a 2-mana 3/4? Well, you get a 2-mana 3/4, 3/2, and you basically just double its power and toughness, which is pretty sweet. Mixed boat, because there's a sequencing thing with Garland, because you might want to cast the Hero's Blade as your non-creature spell so you can surveil one, because Dragon's
Rage Channeler.
Fucking sick card already. This also being another one is very cool. Someone pointed out that you could use Garland to surveil another one into your graveyard if you have like a 4 of, and then you just pay the 7 later to bring it back to the battlefield as Chaos, the Endless.
Oh, dude, that sounds so sick. Hell yes.
But
I think Storm is maybe real in the upcoming months. Because we've got this enabler to help you continue filtering through your deck. We have a literal Storm card as your payoff later. There's a 0-drop mana rock. Like, something's happening.
Yeah, we'll get to Tarkir Dragonstorm stuff later, but also they just literally made a dragon with Storm on it, which is sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so The main reason I say sequencing probably doesn't matter because Garland can transform to Chaos the Endless, which is, yeah, sure, maybe it's effectively paying 7 to get a flying 5/5, and then when it dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. Still don't quite care because having it enter as an 8/7 flying is pretty good value over time. I don't know. Simple, straightforward, to the point. Flying creatures wins games.
Yeah, I'm pretty into that. I also think in the context of standard, like a 20 life format, I don't know, maybe you have like your on cast burn damage spells to take advantage of your storm game plan in the pregame, or not pregame, but like the early game, and then finish off with your 5/5 flyer or whatever. I don't remember what his stats are, but yeah, you just like, you get your guy and you turn him sideways.
And yeah, I guess last thing to point out, and this is mostly just pure copium fingers crossed moment, is that Hero's Blade is reprinted in Tarkir Dragonstorm, and we can actually see this become a reality in Standard.
I want it in Final Fantasy, but I would understand if it came in Tarkir Dragonstorm instead. I
If
just
it's
really
in
want
both,
a Buster Sword that's the Hero's Blade.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Major copium hours here, but
Absolutely, dude.
we are months away from both of these sets, so yeah, time will tell. All right, other vibe checks from you?
Yeah, they gave us 4 face commanders for the commander decks from Final Fantasy. I think that, like, we've got all of the, what I guess the company is admitting are the 4 biggest games in their franchise. Final Fantasy VII has Cloud as the face commander. You don't need me to tell you that the sword guy wants to pick up a Hero's Blade, but yeah, the sword guy wants to pick up the Hero's Blade. Ishtola Knight's Blessed is going to be this, like, I think she's going to draw a lot of aggro, and so if the cat girl is holding a knife, then you are better protected. She's also, I think, a 2/4, so with the blade, the, like, 5/6 is a very real, don't fucking look in this direction or you're going to lose combat. There's Titus, who moves around counters, but if you're moving around counters, you're kind of in the, like, modified creatures strategy, which is only improved by +3 power from an equipment. I think that is going to be a slam dunk. And then lastly, there's Terra, who gets flying and wants to be dealing combat damage. She's absolutely going to pick up the blade for me because it comes down before she does, and she's getting the evasion. She'll be a real commander damage threat in addition to providing you card advantage by milling cards or whatever.
Oh yeah, she's going to be doing some work as the face commander. Pretty exciting stuff. From the very early, very premature previews for Final Fantasy, but no complaints because we gobbled that shit up.
Yeah, they always do a first look for their, like, bigger sets a couple months out. Like the Lord of the Rings, we got the One Ring around this time, despite the actual set being not out for like several months.
4 or 5 months or something. I can't remember, but
I think we got Doctor Who previews in a similar, like, very brief first look, and then several months out the actual set release. Like, this is not a thing that's unestablished. It's just people are, I don't know, dude. Fucking relax.
Look, if it was they were doing full, like, any time that there's, like, full previews, it's like they do it only a month or whatever in advance, or in the month in advance, and then we're all good to go, you know? But I don't know. There's some commander decks to look forward to. And I think someone pointed out that this is for the sellers. Like, this is for stores to get ready ahead of time.
Yeah, I think primarily the sort of announcement was for the retailers so that they could gauge the amount of hype and make their purchasing decisions on that. But you know, as thirsty gamers, if there are previews out there, we want to see them, and so they show them to us.
Yep. And speaking of previews, we got a quick look at Tarkir Dragonstorm. We got a bunch of various different cards, including the new Mox that's going to be out, the Mox Jasper, which is going to be fucking nuts.
Yeah, that's absolutely wild. And Justine Jones got to do, I think, the showcase frame itself for this set, which is a huge boost to the Justine Jones artist typo decks out there. I've got one in the test tube bubbling. It's not like there's not enough cards for it yet, but we're getting there, gamers. I am so fucking hyped.
Yep. But yeah, so as for the vibe check from Tarkir Dragonstorm, I'm selecting Sarkhan Dragon Ascendant. 1 in a red for a 2/2 human druid. When he enters, you may behold a dragon if you do create a treasure token. Where they basically took the templating from the original Tarkir stuff, where you get to reveal a dragon or if you control one.
I think it's so funny that they called that Behold a Dragon, because you literally is just like, behold a dragon, and then you show them one on your battlefield or on your hand.
Yeah. Just gestures in a direction. There, a dragon. And you're like, that is indeed a fucking dragon. And then, of course, whenever a dragon you control enters, put a +1 counter on Sarkhan until in turn Sarkhan becomes a dragon in addition to its other types and gains flying. I think Sarkhan very appropriately passes the vibe check. Being able to make treasure, like, you're playing a dragon deck if you make this guy.
I sure fucking hope so.
And you're growing him, he becomes a dragon, you're playing dragons, he gets huge, he holds a hero's blade, he's huge as fuck. Seems like pretty good value, again, sequencing, but, like, you probably don't give a shit. It's all good. I like him.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the mono red dragon stacks that come out of this. They've been giving us a lot of interesting low curve options for mono red dragons commanders. We got the Godric, I forget what his subtitle is, but the guy from Wilds of Eldraine who turns into a dragon, and then Sarkhan here who turns into a dragon. Maybe I put together a deck with these guys and see what's good about that, because I don't know, they gotta be out there. Like, I feel like people are having fun playing this archetype if they keep printing commanders like this, so I gotta see what's good.
Yeah, get in there, let us know.
Yeah, I'll do the research.
But yeah, other than that, preview season was pretty good, but I don't have any more vibe checks to report this week.
Yeah, I did 5 vibe checks, so I think we're good to move on.
Fantastic. Let's go into comments. We got quite a chunk, mostly in particular to the uncharismatic bard. Thank you for going through the effort, not only reaching out, but also commenting on a bunch of episodes.
Dude, I love that you're going through the whole ass backlog and sharing your thoughts on all of those. I'm having a great time watching that and kind of like experiencing it again with you. It's fun.
Yeah. Some of these are very context sensitive, especially with the don't move and Tom from the Rampart. That was just fucking hilarious. So we actually got a comment through Instagram. This is from Holly, just saying, hello there, amateur Magic player here. I just stumbled upon y'all. Thank you for existing and putting yourselves out there in a ruthless world. Y'all are so cool. Thank you for listening, Holly. Glad you found us out, and hope you enjoyed or enjoying listening to us.
Yeah, homegirl, thanks for coming through.
We will jump all the way back to episode 3.
Hell yeah.
Uncharismatic Bard has this to say.
Loved hearing y'all's faves from these sets. With some future sight, there are some faves of mine people are sleeping on IMO. Run for Your Life, Doctor Who mentioned. This card is never expected. Finishes out commander damage. Mastermind Plum, Clue, genuinely dope. People are always like, what that do? Draws you cards and exiles BS in graveyards. Lastly, Isengard Unleashed, Lotor Scenes. This card wins games, full stop. Such a fun card to resolve. Also, I agree. As an Infect Mage, getting everyone to 10 isn't easy.
Yeah, it's, So, let's go through all these. Mastermind Plum from the Clue set is pretty freaking awesome. Let me just bring
I still haven't put that card in a deck. It's just sitting on my desk as a loose.
I got him in Ishin.
I'm fucking up.
So, 2 black for a 2/2 human wizard. Whenever Mastermind Plum attacks, exile to 1 target card from your graveyard. If an artifact card was exiled this way, create a treasure token. Fantastic. And then whenever you cast a spell, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. In a post-treasure world.
Is this just a mono-black treasure storm deck?
Yeah, pretty much.
Have I said that before?
Maybe. But, yeah, pretty bonkers. Isengard Unleashed.
That fucking kills people.
2 and triple red for sorcery. Damage can't be prevented this turn. If a source you control will deal damage to this turn to an opponent or a permanent they control, it deals triple that damage instead. It has flashback for 4 and triple red. So, yeah.
You fucking
I have one
get
of these.
2 gamers and then finish up on the last person with the flashback.
I just need to, like, again, this is the thing because of not just the podcast, but chatting with a bunch of people. It's like, great, I have this card that sounded really cool and was somewhat affordable. Where the fuck do I put it now? And then I just hum and haw about it for months at a time before I finally make the cut, and I'm like, hell yeah.
I honestly could put it in my Rakdos token aggro deck. It was just fucking triple damage, send people to bed on time.
Seems pretty good, yeah. And then, yeah, 10 damage. I don't know, 10 infect, like, I don't know, where post all will be one with, like, toxic and stuff and much more proliferate tech. It's a lot. I don't know. Who was I proliferating with? So was it against Benoit being like, "Hey, what the fuck? No, it was me and
You and
Fredo
were fucking proliferating yourselves to death, and then I came in at the end and cleaned up or whatever.
It was a good time though.
Goodness.
Let's jump ahead to episode 19. This is from YouTube. Aisling Dorothy says, "Great episode. You always get me laughing. Just want to say I agree with the soapbox of gifting an opponent things could be pretty beneficial in a social format, especially if you're into politics. We are in the 4-player game where you just have that additional quadrant of you can't just negotiate against one person because they don't give a fuck. They're just going to stomp you. But if you're in a 4-player game, yeah, use your words. It can go a long way. But also give people shit, because why not?
I got gifted an extra turn the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Purge Protection is a hell of a card.
Yeah, as I've seen and heard, being able to phase out, make 4 birds, phase out, come back later, be like, cool, I love the chaos you've done. Time to clean up, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, you can kill 2 gamers in that extra turn, but you still have to answer to the person who's phased all the way out, and, you don't always have it. I certainly didn't.
Episode 25.
Uncharismatic Bard says, "When I was in Vegas for the con on Sunday, I went to Taco Pueblos with my friend. We had our magic stuff on us, sat down to eat, and someone came up to us and said, 'You look like magic players,' chucked an envelope at us and ran. It was a pack of stickers and pins for MTG Lexicon. Fun way to get introduced to y'all. And congrats on being a host, Cole. Been enjoying watching y'all's games." Oh shit, that's G3.
That was G3. You
Nice.
dodged a bullet. He could have murdered you.
Absolutely not.
No, come on, that man's the Zodiac Killer for sure. That's an in-joke,
the homie.
by the way. But glad to hear you had that brief encounter, and yeah, it's been fun being part of Lexicon so far, despite dealing with Brandon's incessant bullshit. Also, why would the guy ask me to come on if I didn't like him? Come on, go figure. Episode 27. You're back again on Charismatic Bard. It's like those like rotating doors. You just walk in and just stay in it and come back out.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Cube is where it's at. Love these commander cubes that look fun as hell. Also, definitely gonna give Gunslinger try next time if we got the numbers, aka the variant of if you got 6 players. Cole, if you haven't had a chance, Emperor is a pretty fun variant when you have 6 people. And I'm pretty sure I have played Emperor, but let me just briefly look that up. I don't know. We are in the age where sometimes like just a 3-player game is going to suck, and if you at least create some guardrails, a 5 or 6-player game can be like pretty straightforward. Oh, Emperor, right. Teams of 3. Okay, I actually I think maybe Benoit can confirm this, because when we went to face-to-face Games Vancouver, I heard Olivia and Jim were doing, like, Commander Emperor. We were like, oh, wow, damn. And then we learned that we were way too late for the sign-up. But, yeah, have to look into that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to only attack to, like, whoever is in the middle and the person facing you, but not being able to attack the person on the far, like, side of your row, unless you're the Emperor and you can attack anyone on the opposite side. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Alright, and then we got Lenny here on episode 32.
Love Castlevania Nocturne. I'm pointing at the screen shouting, Horatius mentioned.
Wasn't Horatius the fucking Sphinx or something?
I don't know, I didn't watch that.
I don't know. Lenny, you'll have to let us know, because I have no fucking idea. I should have asked you about this, like, weeks ago. No idea. No idea what that was, but we'll find out. Episode 33, Uncharismatic Bard again. What the heck? Great episode. Really appreciate the clarification / in-depth description of the brackets. Will work on that Lich list. Fantastic. We've done our job.
Perfect.
Thanks, Charlotte, for doing that as well. We will now move on to content, which, on the one part, yeah, Tarkir Dragonstorm and Final Fantasy previews were out at MagicCon Chicago this last weekend. Mm-hmm. Looked pretty fun. Seemed like people were having a good time. Hope you all don't get Concrod or worse. Fingers crossed. Also, the announcement that Avatar: The Last Airbender is going to be the UB set at the end of the year.
Unbelievable that it's fucking real.
You know, it turns out the community can pick up on some context clues if they know what they're looking for, or aka they're so far deep into it that they're like, it's gotta be Avatar, right? It's gotta be The Last Airbender. Tell me it's the fucking Last Airbender. It's The Last Airbender. Ah! No previews for that, just teasers. I think there's some artwork stuff that's been teased recently.
Yeah, we got a couple of art pieces, I think, today.
But yeah, who's ready for that Zuko and Katara Rule 0 deck?
Straight to jail.
Yeah. Shipping wars have never been still real in 2025, and we're going to see that.
Are you kidding me? It's fucking Final Fantasy season. Of course the shipping wars are getting ignited.
Oh, right, yeah. So, let's not get into the Cloud Tifa... Anyway. We know. You know. And if you don't know, don't worry about it. So, because we knew that last episode was going to be busy, I omitted some content, so I'm going to bring some stuff forward. We have Lily Rebel doing some more stuff for the LGS series. So we got a new episode, and we got some skits coming out about the brackets, so that was pretty funny. I encourage everyone to go watch those. Wizards of the Coast released an approximately hour-long Lo-Fi Beats to Drift 2 to commemorate Aether Drift's release. Yeah, it was good. It was nice. Is it going to be on Spotify? I have no fucking clue, but don't ask. And
I did not get around to checking that out. Is it just like traditional lo-fi beats, or are they like remixes of like, I don't know, Initial D tracks?
No, there are not remixes of Initial D. It is literally just whatever generic lo-fi beats there were. I don't know.
It did have a pretty cool visualizer.
Yeah, no, it did. They did a good job on that one. There was a Legendary Creature podcast released a unique episode on their YouTube channel. It was a 15-minute episode by Kyle. It looks like it was just a little solo thing. The lighting in that episode looked fucking awesome.
Oh, man, that episode looked so good.
And it was it was just basically Kyle's talking point about finding cards that mesh well with your deck, not necessarily because they're the best thing, but because of what the options they may offer your deck, or its modularity. Does that mean Is it an MDFC? Does it have different modes? Who's to say? But as long as it's appropriate for your deck, you should consider it, even if it's not the most optimal choice. I think Kristen did an article about that a few months ago, but I think it's a great reiterating point that sometimes you do need to look deep into the card pool to choose something that's just so not orthodox and not like well trodden.
Yeah, I think about that every time I find one of those cards that like cycles itself for value to put itself in the graveyard and is a body worth reanimating. I think the dinosaur from the recent Ixalan set that ETBs and discovers, but you can also basically channel it to lightning bolt something. That shit feels very value dense for a dinosaur reanimator deck, and that's the kind of thing that we're talking about here. Because like I'm on 3 axes, is I'm finding value there. Like it's an interaction piece, it's a reanimation target, it's also got the type line, and it discovers for extra cards. That's a lot of value.
That particular thing really hit with me, because if there's any deck that I think on that complete insanity level of like what would work is very obviously Odric Bloodcursed. Just the things that I consider is I'm in the driver's seat. I see the light of Amazon. I'm nearly the only one that can not only make this deck but pilot it, because I'm just so fucking deep in it. Which then this will allow me to transition into Salubrious Snail's video about how to stop shortcutting the fun part of your deck. With one of the cards that he used was Monument to Endurance, which I was like,
that is so funny, because you did just buy that.
I just put the fucking card in Odric Bloodcurse. Don't tell me what to do. But as he said, it's not that he's an enemy of optimization, but he's just saying that very oftentimes in our pursuit to smooth out a deck's imperfections, we sometimes go way too deep into the optimization side of things, and you then take whatever. I always talk about the sort of elusive sense of fairness that I have in a game of Commander, and one of the things is I always appreciate the push and pull of a game as long as people feel like they're on like even grounds with each other, and then who can pull out of that stalemate in the right way but not in an extreme way. And sometimes you're like, cool, I'm going to choose every single efficient card and then just go to 0 to 100, and you're like, that doesn't seem fun to me. But yeah,
I was thinking about that concept in the context of my Grixis Vehicles deck, because the perfect commander for that deck is Edward Kenway. Like, that exists.
Oh, absolutely.
I could just put the ramp spell and the coastal piracy in the command zone and be done with it. Unfortunately, having that guy on the battlefield has shown me that if he was in the command zone, it would just be too fucking easy. And so I followed my instincts and kept playing my partner commanders of Armix and Ludovic.
Yeah. I remember the first time that I pointed out that Edward Kenway did have another part of his card that you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because I had just been playing him in Assassins, where only the top half of that card is relevant, and even that is like, wow, this is absolutely worth the 5 mana I spent on him. This card whips. There's a whole nother paragraph that I've been completely fucking ignoring, and if you play that in the context of a vehicles deck, wow, that card is fucking bananas.
And this is why, what did some people in the Legendary Creature podcast Discord recently have been talking about some of the new stuff that was coming out in Tarkir Dragonstorm, including some links that will not be mentioned this episode, but people are talking about like, well, great, now you add the additional color to the premise of the deck that you already were trying to make, and now it's the easiest thing in the world to achieve the goal. And they're like, then I will simply not make that deck and continue with what I've been doing in like my 2-color combination or whatever, you know? Or just choosing the completely suboptimal choice, you know? Yeah, it's a difficult thing It's like when people get they get the commander that they're looking for, and then they're like, and now they make the archetype too easy when beforehand it wasn't solved and they had to work overtime to like get it to work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think listening to both Kyle's video and then Snail's video kind of back to back is very interesting to kind of give you context on the both kind of extreme sides of like deck building and card consideration. They kind of, there's a Venn diagram and there's kind of a point in the middle where they intersect, but still kind of cover like different aspects of like deck building. And I think it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, card needs to be perfect for your deck, but it can't be too good or you get bored, and finding that line where you are in between those is it's tough for, I guess, the gamers to decide what they're going to include, and also the designers to know like what people are going to like.
And you know, having over 30,000 cards to choose from like also doesn't help that either.
Yeah, we do have a pretty wide catalog.
And then, just trying to wrap everything up for content. Kristen, I know you probably don't listen as often, but I hope you're enjoying your time in Japan. And thank you for continuously writing super awesome banger articles. The four in particular I got here are, of course, Kristen's take on the bracket beta system. So you get to see her take. Top 10 planeswalkers I don't want a Valentine's from, which was incredibly funny. My first pick board wipes in 2025, some of which I agreed with. Farewell did make the list.
It is really good.
It is really good, unfortunately. I got to recently use Explosive Getaway, and it did work.
Oh, hell yeah. That card looked really good.
I'm going to have to try it again. I'm going to have to see how it works in the future, but when I got to use it, it did the thing, and it felt pretty good to just get rid of a bunch of stuff, and everyone's like, no, my 4 toughness or less creatures, no.
Sweepers of 4 damage do a lot more than you'd expect.
They also do a lot of work when you blow up creatures post-combat damage.
I was just going to say, yeah, especially in the context of post-combat main.
I can't wait to cast a Death Rattle Oni against you when you least expect it.
Ugh. No.
And the last one, of course, actually good budget alternatives to Commander staples. It's kind of like apples to oranges to pears in terms of some of the affordability of some of these alternatives. But once you start hitting like green and white, like I think you do get to see some like pretty cool options. But yeah, we are still in the crazy environment of having like $40 or $50 staples that are just so unattainable that even like you're like, I could print it out, but I'd rather also just pay like $5 for like this alternative card.
Yeah,
so yeah.
A delicate balance.
So yeah, go check all that stuff out. As usual, links will be in the episode description. And let's get into brews off the shelf.
Hell yeah.
It's Aether Drift season.
It is Aether Drift season. All right, I'm going to start. Holy shit, dude, I'm vehicle spilled.
No, I'm not shocked at all.
Yeah, Aether Drift went a long way to make the archetype exciting with cool cards with cool effects, as well as cool support cards for those cars.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a couple of different vehicles brews that I've been exploring. Number one of which is Uwu vehicles with Mendicant Core Guidelight.
I hate you. Continue.
So yeah, fucking putting a fork for artifacts in the command zone, kind of fucked, huh? That guy, you spend a fucking blue and a white mana, he enters the battlefield and starts your engines, and then when you're at max speed, you can spend 1 whenever you cast an artifact to just copy that spell. So some fucked up things to copy. How about the Saravox Tome to take the initiative twice, or Racer's Scoreboard to draw 2, discard 1 twice, and all of my spells henceforth cost 2 total less. The Guidelight Matrix that ETBs and draws you a card. If you copy that, you're drawing 2 cards. You're also crewing extra vehicles. Hey, do you know Alacrian Armory is also an artifact? So you can cast that, fork that with the Mendicant Guidelight. This is actually like a thing that I experienced. I was in the 1v1 via an opponent, and they were at like 15 life. I had 2 Alacrian Armories in play. I had 3 different cars, I think I had 2 Possession Engines and a Sky Sovereign console flagship. And so I cast, I think my commander, it was big enough to crew one of those, and then I just had the Alacrian Armory crew the other 2, because opponent was like, I'm going to cast a Wrath, we'll clear everything out, and then we'll be able to move the fuck on and like maybe close this game out in my favor. Nah, son, I'm a vehicles deck. So I cast my one guy, we auto-crew the other 2, and we get to swing in immediately before they thought they were going to be able to handle my creatures.
That's fucked beyond belief.
It's extremely fucked. Some other fucked up things to copy. That new car, Hole Drifter, that ETBs and draws 2 cards, that usually feels pretty good. I would really like a way to break the legend rule so that I can fork Parhelion 2 and Unctus Grand Metatect. He's an artifact.
Yeah, there's just so many that get so fucked with that cost reduction and then also copying stuff. Like, ugh.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can take this build, I think. I think I went reasonably inoffensive with it because a different path that you can take is to have your build be entirely artifacts and include cards like Either Sworn Canonist, which says players can only cast 1 non-artifact spell each turn. So you were completely unimpeded by that, and your opponents have to answer that. And you make 2 of them, so they have to spend 2 removal spells to get back to casting multiple spells per turn. Meanwhile, you're forking all of your silly little artifacts that ETB and draw a card and have cost reducers and an Ether Flux Reservoir, and you're metal storming off. Like, that's a thing that you could do. I'm not doing that, but you could. You could also just play like Mere Typal or Thopter Typal and play Tempered Steel. You've got mad options, and having 2 of anything that you cast is extremely strong. Do not sleep on this guy. And gamers, don't get caught slipping. Keep a lookout on this guy.
Yeah, I think it's been very interesting to see how people have had almost, it feels like, completely different reactions to him. It's like felt like almost like a 50-50 split. And then from the run-in, they're like, no, this guy's the sickness.
Yeah, I think if you actually play with the card, you'll understand that paying 1 mana for a copy of whatever the fuck you're casting is, you should probably have to pay more than 1 mana for that.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Alright, what you got for us?
Ether Drift, good, go figure. So, I'm going to preface this for all of the decks all of the 2 decks that I'm going to be talking about today. I'm still at 30. I think I got down to 33 decks, and then I did something to keep it 33 decks. I don't know how I managed to take away. I took apart something else to make these 2, but whatever. So I took apart my Ivora Insatiable Hair deck and my Red Death deck. I just didn't really have too long with either of them. Like, I think maybe I've had Red Death for about 3 or 4 months, and Ivora for like 2 or 3, and then I took apart my Shay, Cormac, and Lur's deck because, as it turns out, having targeted removal deck gets kind of fucking annoying.
There's a limited amount of tolerance for that.
So, as a trade-off, and because, hey, guess what? Ether Drift is out, so we gotta build some decks. The first one, to the shock of no one, including myself, was Captain Howler. This dude is fucking sick. Is it combat never felt so good? And despite the severely bad one game that I had with the Greediest Keep,
Completely
other
unavoidable
game,
BT dubs.
I did have two good games with it. I got to play it on Tappy Toe Claw's stream against Alex from the Spike Faders.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex was up to no good, so I had to send him to the Shadow Realm by just literally creating an evasive trampoline creature with Captain Howler and just hitting him for 21 commander damage. That is something you can definitely do with this deck.
Hell yeah, dude. Show him the fucking shark cannon.
And then I did I did some damage to both you and the Joe Vega on stream this last weekend, and you both said, "Cool, it's time to kill Captain Howler," and then you, and I said, "Yep, fair enough."
Yeah, he hit me for like 13, I think, and then I was like, okay, that can't happen again, and so I used a Chandra to burn his ass and paid the ward cost.
I can't believe you did this to me.
You know I had to do it to him.
Yeah. So, yeah, Captain Howler is the real shit. Being able to find ways to cycle or discard cards at instant speed will go a long way for this deck. Especially if people are swinging at your opponents, so you can at least piggyback off the card draw effect.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, what's that? You were getting in there for a 1/1 for 1 damage with a 1/1 flying Thopter? Let me just activate the ability on this Ghostly Pilfer, discard 3 cards, and now you're taking 7? I'll draw 3 cards.
Seems pretty good. So yeah, looking forward to getting more reps in with it. But I do like how I managed to meld together the discard stuff with Ivora and the kind of goad minigame stuff with Red Death. People are going to be annoyed once I finally get that shit together. No one is fucking safe and everyone is fucking annoyed.
Yeah, I think it's a very funny game plan. I'm excited to see some more of that because I can't be mad at that man. He's so cool.
Yeah.
Inspirational for one of my brews too.
So yeah, not much else to report for that for me this week. So back over to you.
All right. Another vehicles deck we're talking about. This time it's Grixis vehicles with Ludovic and Armix. We talked a little bit about that up top. We're going to get a little more in depth now. I had a constellation of Grixis cards that all say discard on them that I needed to make hold hands. We had our boy Inti, we had Howler, we had Fearless Swashbuckler, we had Unctus Grand Meditech, we had Boosted Sloop, we had Cryptcaller Chariot. I needed to make all of these things hold hands and season with other bangers from the set to taste. Fucking Mu Yanling, Windrider, huge fan of that. Gives my vehicles flying, draws cards, we love to see it. I recently realized that Winter would protect my cars, so we added him to the deck to give everybody ward, I think pay 2 life. And then to potentially be a board wipe if things go south, we can exile artifacts from our graveyard and give things -X/-X. I think that'll feel pretty good. We've got a Transit Mage in there to go find the key cars, namely the Cryptcaller Chariot, and then we've got the bigger ones so we can go find like Hull Drifter if we want to draw more cards, or Sky Sovereign Console Flagship if we need to just fucking lightning bolt something, which I think I said this somewhere else, but people are talking about how 3 damage isn't very much, except once you've got a Sky Sovereign Console Flagship on board and it's picking apart everybody's board states 3 damage at a time. Fucking sucks, doesn't it?
Yep. Has anyone ever been on the receiving end of a lightning bolt at like what felt like the worst time? Yeah, except this is repeatable.
Yeah, it's the fucking worst. I've got an all-seeing arbiter in there to make sure that we maximize on our value whenever you discard a card that guy's nerfing your opponent's creatures. And we've got the Howler in there, of course, to do the buffs. And I can't believe I don't have Surly Badgersaur and Bone Miser in there. Those are kind of like poster child for red and black whenever you discard technology. I need to get those in there. And Psychic Frog has a lot of extremely cool rules text that would synergize well with this deck.
I need to get one of those finally, but it's still like
It's still 50 bajillion fucking dollars. Somebody ban it in a format where it's like driving the price up so that I can play it in Commander.
Where's my $5 max Magic the Gathering card?
It is actually $5 on MTGO, so maybe I should just stop bitching and get it. I only need one. The huge killer thing, and actually in both of these artifact decks, vehicles decks, is that I can summon the fucking Mech Titan. Big fan of that ever since it fucking Haymakers punched me in the face by Joe via his vehicles deck. I talked about that on #DrownSecrets.fm.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Well, because that was the one where we got that clipped out on Lexicon, where he's like, "It's morphin' time," and everyone's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, it was fucking sick, and ever since then, I'm like, okay, Mech Titan real. Also, I need that, and I finally put together decks that are capable of making that happen. I have resolved the Mech Titan, I think, 4 times now. In 2 instances, it basically won me the game, and then the other 2, it got interacted with, which was unfortunate. One of those that it got interacted with, all of the cards that got returned when it left entered the battlefield and had fucking ruinous abilities, so I was able to leverage that into a winning position. And then the final one is where I was actually just like, it sucked a whole lot. The Bringer of the Last Gift entered the battlefield after being cast and caused me to sacrifice my Mech Titan and return my creatures from my graveyard to the battlefield, except I'm a vehicles deck, so my creature selection is not very thick, and the other people's board states were just... Yeah?
No. It's cool that the Mech Titan had that insurance just because of the composition of what assembled it.
Yeah, I do like that the Mech Titan does sort of offer that. You just have to make sure that you're tucking away cards that will give you that value, because you can actually exile like Thopter tokens to the Mech Titan. I just think it's much more... Like, it hits so much harder if you're exiling like Boom Mobile and Possession Engine and Hull Drifter and Demonic Junker just to complete the package.
Too good. I was thinking about that, I think during the weekend, where I was just like, Crypt Caller Chariot, all these discard stuff, Captain Howler, like, and then you just managed to put the deck together and just said, yeah, here it is, Cole. And I'm like, oh, all right, damn, good job.
You should play that on Moxfield or something. It's a really good time.
Yeah, I should probably look into that. I won't, though.
All right, I got 2 brief posts, and then we can get into our final section. I've also been playing Teamer Vehicles with PNLR Chief Mechanic. It's like Energy and Cars hold hands. I get to print out flyers every turn. I'm a big fan of that. I've been playing the pre-con, actually, the Teamer Energy one, and I had a bunch of cards printed out for a Teamer Vehicles deck that I had brewed before we got the like pre-con lists. So now I'm just like taking parts out of the pre-con that don't synergize with my game plan and adding cards that I'd printed out and making this the Teamer Vehicles energy deck that I want it to be. And that feels pretty good. It's they're giving you a lot of really cool things to spend energy on these days, and I'm excited to see what the full like archetype of energy is going to look like in a little bit. The landscape has fucking changed, gamers, and I have an Esper air quotes energy deck that absolutely needs to have another look taken at it.
I'll be interested to see what you come back with in next 2 weeks.
I don't fucking know if we're gonna get that done in that time. We got new shit to look at still. Lastly,
2 weeks from now. Tarkir Dragonstorm. Don't mind if I do.
Yeah, so here's my mono red Sarkhan deck. And when we get the fucking rules text for that Mardu Dragon, here's my Mardu Dragon deck.
Oh my god. Well, we can't really talk about that right now until we learn more, but
Yeah. So
Um,
anyway, yeah, Far Fortune. I was at 5 fucking life. I'm like, all right. Opponent looks at me and is like, all right, fuck it. We'll let the Dark Confidants kill you. My Dark Confidants, however, they said land, land, and land.
and
Because I had
land.
3 of them. I had 2 of the Bat Dark Confidants and 1 actual factual Dark Confidant. They both hand me lands. Hashtag blessed, hashtag never punished, hashtag grateful.
I am shocked. I was like, there's no fucking way. I mean, you still died, but it
Oh
was
yeah, I
like,
was absolutely getting fucking exploded that game. There was no way I came out of that one alive.
but I was just like, there's no fucking way. You get 3 hits to death, and you're like, nah, but what if they're all lands, though? And I'm like, oh my fucking god.
And this is why you
Um,
play lots of lands in your deck, gamer, so that you can play Dark Confidants and not get punished too hard. I do have rooms in the deck though, so watch out.
the literal, well, that's more of a literal coin flip of taking like 0 or taking 10.
Yeah, it's big feast or famine hours.
Um, but yeah, good job. Clap on the back. Quinn, can you hit us with the quote about reaching max speed?
Max speed is for the gamers with the guts to reach out and take it.
Thank you. I will now use this as a transition point to talk about the motherfucking speed demon.
Oh shit.
So I was like, I, of course, need to make the speed demon. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about this. It needed to be done. Um, so what happens when you take a 5 mana 5/5 flying trample demon that says start your engines? Well, you try to round it out with other start your engines cards ahead of time so you can start getting that points up before you deploy the demon.
Oh, dude, when that guy comes down and it's already max speed, it feels so good.
So, I will need to get more start your engine cards. But the hype is sure fucking real. Being able to go to your end step and then drawing cards and losing life equal to your current speed, even on 1, is still a good feeling. It probably is like what Phyrexian Arena probably should have been to trigger on your end step, maybe? I don't know. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to fucking talk about you're gonna get fucking flampled, you're gonna get fucking trampled and flampled on. Like, we're just fucking you up.
Mm-hmm.
We're backing it up. We're backing up the speed demon with all the other cards that I had in my collection at the time. And while I don't have a Soul Ring on deck, I do have a Dark Ritual to get that guy out on turn 3.
Sick.
We get Bubbling Muck for that double swamp. Everyone gets double black mana off your swamps until the end of the turn. No big deal. We got 3. That's right, 3 different counter spells in the deck just in case you need to protect your fucking speed demon.
Hell yeah.
Or just get rid of a problematic creature when available. I got Imp's Mischief. I have Warping Whale.
Wow.
And I have a Withering Boon just to
Hell
just
yeah.
fuck with people. We have some discard outlets because obviously if we're going to be having a bunch of cards in hand at all times, there's going to be a point where you just have way too many lands in hand. So we have stuff like Zombie Infestation and Call the Bloodline to discard stuff.
Okay, what does that one do? I haven't heard of that one.
So Call the Bloodline is from I want to say it's Shadows, but I'm pretty sure it's not. It is actually from Shadows over Innistrad. It's 1 and a black for an enchantment. Pay 1, discard a card, create a 1/1 black Vampire Knight creature token with lifelink. Activate this ability only once each turn.
I feel like I've never seen that before, and I paid a lot of attention to that set because I don't know, I liked the spooky moon.
It got like a Friday night F&M promo. Like,
wow.
it's we're chock full of removal. Unsurprisingly, I think I might actually cart the Heartless Summoning because I kind of realized this at Nambos with the Call of Bloodline, just being like, cool, I paid discard 1 and make nothing.
Put a death trigger on the stack, I guess.
Yeah. And then kind of like to kind of round stuff out here and there. I got several ways to either disincentivize or make people lose life or reduce the damage coming my way via the likes of Thunderstaff, Marchesa's Decree, and Revenge of Ravens. We got a couple board wipes in there. We got Haste Enabling via Mogus's Marauder, Lightning Greaves, and Swiftfoot Boots. And yeah, we're just kind of living the fucking dream of kind of playing like good black cards deck featuring the motherfucking Speed Demon.
It does actually rip, though. Are you on the Hand of Vecna?
No, I'm not on the Hand of Vecna. I don't have one.
Gotcha. I saw a Speed Demon deck on MTGO earlier today, actually, and they had fucking Venser's Journal, which, yeah, that's a good card for that deck.
I'm trying to think. I feel like I do have a Venser's Journal. I just have no fucking clue where it is.
Well, better find that, because that'll tilt me into the sun for surezies.
Yeah, or you could be like Joe and find ways to snipe your Duskmoor mono red creature that says if it's dealt damage, shoot it at someone or something, but if it's at someone, they can't gain life for the rest of the game. Oh yeah, he came through with the
Screaming Nemesis. That was very funny.
I was tilted into the sun, but it's a good thing that I kept cool under pressure because I just said, cool, no problem, I'll just keep drawing cards and pressuring life totals, despite the fact that I was being pressured from all sides.
That's the move, dude. You gotta just keep drawing cards or ramping through the haters.
Did manage to hit max speed, so, just at some point I was just drawing 4 cards at a time. I managed to finish the game by cracking a Mind Stone to go up to 8 cards, and then... No. Yeah.
You needed to go, I think, to more than 8 cards.
Yeah, I got to a surplus. So I got to over 7, and then I drew 4, and then I had to discard down, and I had to pay into the Faith of the Devoted card that I put out near the beginning of the game.
Yeah, that did nothing all game, and I was like, I see the theory, but in practice, that isn't doing so much. And then you get to the end of the game, and you're just like, discard 5, pay, and you're dead.
It came through, but obviously I'm looking at it very sussly, like, okay. I'm uberly, massively, monumentally upset that Fitz fucking mana drained my fucking Abhorrent Overlord, which would have been the fucking coolest, because my devotion was like only 7 or whatever.
Only 7, he says.
I hate mana drain, all my homies hate mana drain as ramp.
Yeah, and then I in the notes am saying, all your homies fucking hate mana drain.
I also did take Trenton's advice after that game. He was in chat that night, and he's like, yo, do you have any lich effects in this? To which I said no, and he said coward. And I said, fine, I will put Lich's Mastery into the deck.
I'm going to have to be extremely careful with that.
Yeah, we'll see.
That draw 4, lose 4 on the end step turns into draw 4, lose 4, and then have to answer the Lich 4 times.
I'm not super duper worried, and worst case is I just discard the card. Like a coward. Are you a fucking coward? Yeah, sometimes.
I mean, it's more than discard, it's exile, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I meant I discard... Before I cast Lich's Mastery, I discard the Lich's Mastery.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of like the current arrangement of the spells in the deck, so we'll see what happens in the future. But I will definitely be trying to get the other Start Your Engines land cards, and the there's the 2 mana enchantment that's an edict.
Momentum Breaker. That shit is so brutal. It's like
yeah, and I'm like, oh, cool. I will also like to later
discard a card. Fuck.
And then later, I'll be like, cool. I would like to pay 2 mana and sacrifice it to gain 4 life for my speed. That seems like a good buffer. Yeah, good stuff. Like it. More Speed Demon coming to a racetrack near you.
Hell yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The deck looks sweet.
So I didn't think we would get through that quick, but I do have a soapbox this week.
It sounds like it's time to cue the elevator music.
Fucking hit it. All right. This kind of ties into a couple different ones, but it's one that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. And this is the thing I have to say. It's okay to play tap lands, you heathens. Now listen, thankfully over the last few years, we've gotten some good lands that have conditional enters untapped clauses. Or they can tap for another color if a condition is met. But like, where's the whimsy? What, suddenly you're too good to play a Scry Temple on turn 1?
What do you know about whimsy? This dude devoid of whimsy.
Yeah. Look, I understand that over time, we will have new lands enter circulation, but we're still going to have precons be printed with numerous tap lands, which is criminal, I know.
It's not. You're about to talk about how it's not.
Listen, just I gotta warm them up and then knock them all over. All right, relax.
All right, continue.
So, yes, there's resources available that can have you calculate the type of lands or tap lands that you need to cut to be more efficient. You also have the crowd of people that says, "Why don't you just play more basics?" But really, if anything, WotC better start finishing previous cycles before pushing new ones on players like a drug dealer.
I'm pushing my blood moons out of sight.
Yeah. Now, I like the Verges, for example. The Verges are pretty great, but you know what I want more of? I want more of Cinderglade. And I want the bicycling lands finished. Thank you very much.
Please.
Just for me, personally, you always keep giving ally colors dual lands. You do not give the enemy colors dual lands. Anyway, I'm going to use anti-flash curses as an example of this. If I really wanted to, and I could, maybe, I could add fetch lands. I could get OG duels, but I won't. And you can definitely see where I'm going with here. In that you could optimize a mana base to be as incredibly as efficient as possible for a 3-color deck, and then Price of Progress just fucking annihilates you. We're not going to be doing that here. However, when I was putting this deck together with already such an outlandish archetype in mind, I knew that I needed, nay wanted, a deck where the mana base was more or less unoptimized and used unconventional lands. And the reason being is that I am tired of trying to do deck optimization from the ground up. I'm just so tired of it. The lands, the curve, the picking the strictly better options, like, what am I trying to do here, you know?
Your man has had it. He's just trying to shovel up some trash on his desk.
That's all I got left, you know? I can't keep blowing $20 a week or two on, like, cards that I might not play, and then not even getting starting on lands. But anyway, so, you know what I can do in Anti-Flash? I'm going to crack a myriad landscape for a pair of basic lands that feels appropriate for the situation, and then later, when I'm casting Anti-Flash below curve, I'm going to return that myriad landscape to the battlefield and fucking do it again. Okay? Or, I'm going to crack a Croson Verge for a Jet Mirrors Guarded and a Sacred Peaks. You know, that common land that's a plains and a mountain from Dominaria United. You know, that cycle? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Fuck it. I'm going to put that in the deck because I don't give a fuck. Because I'm going to be absolutely rolling in lands by the time Anti-Flash comes out to play, okay? And then I'll fucking do it again because it's Croson Verge, okay? Don't care. And then at that point, I'll also hard cast Overwhelming Splendor on you in particular because fuck you. So, like, here's the thing, right? I made that 4-color Aragorn, the Uniter. That was a Gates deck, and that deck did okay, despite the fact that I literally had as many tapped Gates enter, but we had a gone Gate, so maybe I was cheating a little bit. You could probably make a 5-color deck using basics, all 10 check lands, and all 10 reveal lands, and play nearly all of them untapped. Maybe. But that's just an example.
That seems fine.
Like, and then, I don't know, I just feel as if having some tap lands in your deck isn't the worst thing in the world, and it can teach you about how to sequence your plays, playing certain stuff off curve, or, just maybe hear me out. Just accepting the fact that you're not going to have a completely optimal play patterns at all times. Also, since we're talking about various tap lands and stuff, we have surveil lands now. Those center tapped guaranteed. There's no condition. Yes, they're fetchable, and they also surveil 1, and they're fucking awesome. But also, can they not be, over $10? Thank you.
Yeah, I would like for those to be cheaper. I also think that those ones are maybe not fair to compare to the other tap lands.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. A Temple of Malady does not compare to a Lesh Portico, or whatever the fucking that damn thing, that land is called, Night and day. But it enters tapped, So anyway, and just to kind of wrap everything up here, I have seen friends still play Evolving Wilds either turn 1 or turn 4 because that is all they have, and that's what they're going to fucking use, and because they also don't give a shit.
Yeah, dude, I got an Evolving Wilds and a Terramorphic Expanse in my Abzan midrange deck with Teneb the Harvester, because that's what was on my desk.
And there you go. And you know what? It fucking works, because the end result is still the fucking same.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, and if you're on a budget, not even reprints can save you from the expensive lands when they're still $5 a pop. It quickly adds up, and if you're more than 2 colors, good freaking luck, because that's probably going to take more of your budget, and then you have to really rely on basics or whatever. Fundamentally, tap lands are a feature of the game, and not a bug, and I will go on record, you can use whatever land you want, and I can't stop you, but as mentioned previously, if you're always freaking fetching and grabbing duels and triomes, I'm going to be raising my eyebrows at you.
Guilty.
Show me the funky stuff. Show me Minas Morgul Dark Fortress.
Oh, I do that too.
Yeah, you do that too. I know you do. You and I are big subscribers to the Dark Fortress. Which, by the way, that it just tapped. It taps for black, and then you can pay 3 and a black and tap it to put a shadow counter on target creature.
I love that shadow counters do exactly what you think they do too.
It also makes them wraiths. But also, you could do that several times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked. That's absolutely fucked.
Just anyway, every turn I'm generating an unblockable army, and it's difficult to interact with because, I don't know, did you pack your Field of Ruin?
Yeah, probably. Irresponsible gamers do be out there. Irresponsible gamers would rather put 10 fetch lands in their commander deck than put 1 spot land destruction removal land. But anyway, that's my rant for this episode. Also, just a further case in point for the Speed Demon, I have Bajuka Bog, Mortuary Mire, Myriad Landscape, Peat Bog, which enters tapped with 2 depletion counters, then you remove a depletion counter to add double black mana to your mana pool, and then if there's no depletion counters on it, you sacrifice it. Okay? Funky shit. Show me it.
Hell yeah.
Alright. So that's more or less the episode.
Alright, well, I guess this is the part where we tell people that they can find us on Bluesky. I'm at Girldick Energy. Cole's at the Bloodrick guy now.
Yeah, correct.
And we have the HBVC-MTG for the podcast. And now there's also MTG Lexicon.
Yeah, we finally have a Bluesky account because I was like, no, fuck Twitter. We are not going back. Fuck that. Get rid of it. Shut it down. They're like, are you sure? I'm like, nope, no one's there. Do it. And then, yeah, you can check us out on Saturdays playing Commander on MTG Lexicon on Twitch. The other hosts might be playing Dungeons and Dragons next Friday, I think. Yeah, it's next week. And yeah, that's it. We a very clean, short episode this time, just to get ready for the super long next one in another 2 weeks.
Yeah, I have dragons to talk about.
Oh, we will have many dragons to talk about, I'm sure. All right, we'll see y'all on the next one.
Later, gamers.